Hi and welcome to another free.volous episode. This is shaking, I'm sorry. So today I think I'm bringing you a good one. This is going to be a long one for sure, but let's tackle this. Today I'm going to talk to you about, times are complicated for many people and I'm not here to judge where you spend your money. If you want to spend money on makeup, that's not the point. But I wanted to revisit, because basically this is almost everything revisited, products that if you were blindfolded and testing these, or if you were presented these in a bougie packaging with very well-known logos, you would not bat an eyelid in thinking that these were high-end. So I'm not saying that these are good for the price, I'm saying that these overall are very high-end equivalent in terms of quality, and they have blown my mind several times. Sometimes I revisit them and I'm kind of like, wow, this is still really good. I'm not going to go through every category because I haven't found in some categories products that I think are up to the standards of all of these in here. But they may be out there, but I haven't tried everything under the sun. I buy everything myself, my friends. I'm not sent anything, so there's a limit. And also, I don't have access to lots of things that may be easily accessible to people elsewhere that not in Portugal. For instance, e.l.f. seems to have great things. I only have a couple of their products, and most of their amazing, very hyped products in the US are not available online. That's where I can reach them through things like Feel Unique, that is now Sephora UK. They're not there, so I can't get them. So I will be lacking in some categories just because I haven't tried some things, and I will be lacking in some products because, I don't have access to everything. That being said, if I miss your favorite and it's easily accessible in Europe, just drop it in the comments down below and we'll create a little bit of an encyclopedia of affordable, amazing products. So, without further ado, first and foremost, if you are new here, hi! Thank you for stopping by. If you may, please consider subscribing at the end of the video. If you enjoy what I do, please do so. And to everybody, if you enjoy this video, thumbs up. You know how it goes. Comment down below and talk to me. I love chatting with you. And let's start this, shall we? First category. Foundations. And oh my friends, I realize I have several I really like. I'm not going to talk about the Maybellines and the L'Oreals. They have amazing ranges, but I wanted to talk about the ones that are less commonly mentioned, at least where I tend to look up, tend to watch makeup content, and that are really, for me, phenomenal, under the radar products. Most of these don't have an amazing shade range, which is disappointing to say the least, woeful. And for one of these brands, which is quite big and has lots of money, it's just sad and shameful. But they're still amazing products. If at least one person can enjoy one of these recommendations, I'd be happy. So the first one, I've done an up close and personal on this one. This is the Pretty Natural Foundation by Essence. And the longevity of this and the finish on my face is amazing. I'm wearing it today. It's super perfecting. It has medium coverage. You can tone it down a bit, sheer it down a bit. And all of these, I think, are within the soft matte, satin matte kind of realm. But all of these can be, except one, can be, mixed with skin prep or liquid highlighters and stuff like that to make them more dewy. So they're very versatile in that sense. Now also, they are kind of within the medium coverage range, but you can sheer them down, and they are also buildable. So keep that in mind. But the Essence Pretty Natural is, I think, the most affordable of the bunch, and it's beautiful on the skin, super long wearing, super smoothing, looks great. I don't know what else to say except for I think I bought this for €6. I don't know if they've bumped it up to 8, but it's around that price range. And it's phenomenal, and it holds a candle to my high-end foundations. The same with this one. Purito Cica Clearing BB Cream. You've heard me talk about this. Also, there's an up close and personal on this one. I have to create a a playlist with my up close and personals. Why didn't I do that? I don't know, but here we are. But this is another one of those. This is an Asian brand, I think Korean. I can't read because I don't have my glasses. I think it's a Korean brand. And it makes it a bit more hard to access because you need to order it online through YesStyle, and that takes a couple of weeks to arrive. But for me, this is one of the best foundations I've ever tried. Again, the finish is really versatile. You can mix it with different products and make it really matte or quite dewy, and it holds on for the whole day. I have to mix a couple of shades. They only have, I think, 6 or 8 shades. They have expanded the range, but it's still insufficient, let's say that. But for those who can enjoy this, the luxurious feeling of this foundation on your skin when applying is unbeatable and absolutely high-end. It's not just the performance, but the experience is super high-end luxe. Now this one, I hesitated talking about it on my channel because it technically has 20 shades, which isn't amazing, but hey. But in Europe, I can only find 6 at most, and they're all on the beige, pale beige side. I don't know what they think of us in Europe, but yeah. At the same time, I have gone back to this foundation so many times, even when having very high-end products around me. This is one of those that, especially in the wintertime, don't ask me why, but I go back to this one. Again, it's super long wearing on me. It gives a beautiful finish, so I decided to mention it again. Sometimes we make choices that we're not certain about, and this is one of those. This is the Physicians Formula, the Healthy Foundation. This has been, you know, people have commented that it probably will be discontinued, but that rumor has been around for years and it's still around, so hey ho. This is not the most inexpensive foundation of the bunch, but I usually find this on sale. If you're in Europe, if you're in Spain and Portugal, I mean, Primor has this. Usually you can find it on sale for half the price. So it comes down to, I don't know, 8 or 10 euros, something like that. And also, Feel Unique, now Sephora UK, usually has them on sale also, but the shade availability is less easy. But, you know, this is one of those that most people have in their countries at the drugstore. So, yeah, if you find your shade in this, I have to mix 2 to get my shade, but if you find your shade, this is a beautiful foundation. It has, by the way, it's a doe foot applicator, in case you're wondering. It's not a pump. Last one is the one that is giving the highest coverage and is the one of those old school. I also have an up close and personal on this one. It's the HD Liquid Coverage Foundation by Catrice. Nobody asked you, Catrice. And I absolutely adore this foundation. This has more coverage and more of a matte finish, and it's not as mixable with dewy products to make it look dewy. So I would go with maybe a slight touch of cream highlighter on top. That sets, because this can be disrupted in that sense, you know. But other than that, if you're one of those that still loves higher coverage, this is one of those affordable foundations that really gets the job done. I'm just so sad that both Catrice and Essence, they are German brands, I think, and they could expand their shade range so much more. They would include so many more people. But yeah, these are my 4 favorite foundations that I wanted to mention. You know, Maybelline Superstay, L'Oreal, What's It Not, also amazing foundations, but I think those are very often mentioned, and these are often forgotten or maybe not as tried by people. So there you go. Okay, now concealers. I've mentioned these very recently on my declutter, and they stayed for a reason. First one, Maybelline, Erase, Age, Rewind, whatever. The one, the only, the old one that took so long to arrive to Portugal that it was mental. This is one of the best concealers. Full stop. Under the eyes, on your skin, on the blemishes. It's not that thin that when you apply, when you try to blend it out, it disappears. Amazing. And also the NYX Bear With Me concealer, a bit more of a recent launch. very creamy, great for the under eye area, especially if you're quite dry. This is a good one, and it's a beautiful concealer. And yeah, I love both of them. Let's talk about powders for a bit now. This one is not, let's say, it's not the most inexpensive when you buy the product, but it will last you for so long that the price per use is ridiculous. And this is one of those products that if you have this, you don't need to buy another one of these in different colors or anything, because it's a translucent powder. Isn't this old school? Come on, this is one of those trends. This is one of those trends. This is NEVAH aftershave kind of trend product, but this is still really good. It's the RCMA no color powder. It's so good. It comes in a terrible shaker. It's not the most practical, but you can dump a little bit onto your hand or onto a palette and work from there. And this is a translucent powder that gets the job done. If you don't have a heavy hand, it will not look cakey on your skin. If you're not photographed often with flash, you don't have to worry about white cast, but even then, I don't think this has a flashback, so it's fine. It's an absolutely amazing powder, and to be honest, for everyday setting, unless you're really dry and you need a very specific powder, or if you want a powder that lets all the luminosity shine through, and then you should go for something like the Hourglass powder maybe. This is one of those that you don't need more than this to get your job done, and I still love it. The other one is a pressed powder that is blurring, and I know that this is something that many people love. I've been trying this for a bit and I really like it. It's the e.l.f. Prep and Set powder? Prep and Stay pressed powder? I don't know. I'll let you know in the title. But yeah, this is a little pressed powder. It has a couple of shades and you just press it onto your skin, and this is extremely blurring. If you don't have any under eye, fine lines, this is a great under eye setting powder. For me, that I have some fine lines, I find that it looks amazing and super blurred out. Once I apply it, I could take a couple of amazing pictures, but throughout the day, because I live in this face and on my makeup, it starts to dry down and to emphasize and look a bit dry and cakey under the eyes. But on the sides of my face, where I want to blur my pores, this is one of the best blurring powders I've ever used, just so you know. Now let's talk about face color, and I haven't found cream face products like blushes and bronzers that I really rate on a more affordable range, but there are a couple of products that I really want to talk. One is not the product, it's the brand. It's Kiko, and Kiko has amazing bronzers and blushes in all of their special edition collections that they come out with. It feels like they're kind of repackaging every 3 months. This is kind of the same products. They do a little bit of a change here and there, but it's kind of the same thing. And it's fine because it's reliable, and if you miss one, you can always get another one. This is my Kiko Mini Divas Baked Bronzer, which was from a limited edition collection yonks ago, and it doesn't matter because if I went today to Kiko, I would find a good bronzer, and they have matte and kind of like satin finished ones. They have those big, I had one of those big, large, kind of Marc Jacobs sized packaging also, and they have lots of variety, and the blush is also matte and shimmery and satin finish with a bit of gleam to them, and they're always really good. So I rave Kiko if you want to get some good cheek options. This product though is so old, it's going to be decluttered. Spoiler for my next video, but I had a blast, and this is one of those that I keep or have kept also as a reference to remind me that Kiko does great cheek products. The other one, again, oldie but goodie. This survived a declutter recently. This is the Max Factor Cream Puff blushes, sorry. This one is in Nude Mauve, which is one of my oldest blushes ever. And this has a bit of a satin finish to it. And these are some of the best powder blushes still to this day. And I love these. I have other colors, another color. And yeah, nobody talks about these anymore. They are still amazing. But yeah, these are my cheek kind of product recommendations. If you have more, let me know in the comments below. Next category is eyes, and I have so many products to mention because that's a good sign. It means that there are many good products being made at an affordable price. Win-win. The first one, again, a oldie but a goodie. This is the Kiko long-lasting eyeshadow stick. Who doesn't have one of these, especially if you live in Europe? You get these in matte finishes, in shimmery, glittery finishes, lots of colors to play with. These are great as, the matte ones especially are great as color bases, and the shimmery ones are one and done eyeshadows that you just blend out with your finger and you're good to go. These slightly crease on me depending on the color and formula, but I forgive all of that because they're super affordable, and there are some very high-end products like these that also crease on me. So that's, for me, that's not a sign of quality per se. It has to do with how it matches my skin type and the way that I move my eyes in a way. But the other brand that I wanted to talk about regarding, you know, eye sticks is the Mina. Look at me knowing the name of the brand, the 24-hour eye stick. And these come, for me, the most special thing on these is the fact that they come in an amazing shade range with very fun, trendy colors. You have your greens, your chartreuses, your mustardy yellows, your desaturated blues. They have so many beautiful colors, and these behave so well. These do not budge, and even on my very creasy prone eyes, these do stay for a long time without creasing, and also they work very well as bases. You can smooth them down very easily. So if you're, especially in Europe, and yeah, if you're in Europe, and especially if you're in Spain and Portugal, check Primor or check Mina's website to see the absolutely incredible array of colors that they have. Now let's talk about eye pencils, and I have several here. One of my most used eye pencils is this one. This is the Essence Long Lasting Eye Pencil. This is supposedly waterproof. These are €2 or €3 per pencil. They come in very, you know, wearable but less. You have your brown and your black, but they also have this burgundy. They have darker blues, a desaturated green. So you have a bit of choice and of options. These are great. I love using them as just a line on my eyes and I'm good out the door. These last really well. These don't, you know, flake or anything. They glide on the eyes really easily. The downside with these is that they may dry out a bit quicker, not necessarily than a high-end product, because you have a multitude of variety of quality in those too, but these may dry out a bit quicker, and if you don't use the same eye pencil every single day, they might dry out on you before you use it up. But these cost €2, 50 or €3 or whatever. So, and the other ones I have to talk about are the Mina, the 24-hour automatic eye pencil. So the same as the eye sticks, these are pencils. Again, the shade range, unbelievable. As you can see, this is a beautiful color. This blue is what I'm wearing on my eyes right now. They don't transfer, they look amazing, they glide on super easily, they lock on your eyes. So good. They are so good. And I'm super chuffed with them. Again, go check Mina out. They deserve a lot more love. Now, when it comes to waterline, I don't use these. The Mina ones are still pretty soft to use on the waterline, but I don't feel they're the most long wearing on the waterline because it's a humid environment. The Essence ones are a bit too dry to apply on the waterline. They glide beautifully on the eyes, don't worry. But specifically for the waterline, for those of you who, like me, like to apply a black or a brown on the waterline, these are a bit more expensive, but still the least expensive of the best performing is the Sephora 24-hour or 12-hour, please, 12-hour colourful eye pencils, and these are amazing. These feel like a gel eyeliner. So they glide really well, but then they lock on your eyes and they don't budge. I end up at the end of the day with a little bit of smudging on the outer corner, but that's really common for me with any kind of eyeliner, even with the Marc Jacobs ones if I use them for a long time. So that's not one of those deterrent situations. And I find that this is basically the same as the KVD one, but this is about 10 euros cheaper. So yeah. Brows. You know what I'm gonna say. This is the Catrice Slimmatic Ultra Precise brow pencil. Why am I picking this up like Kendall Jenner cuts of food? You have a spoolie on one side, on the other side you have this teeny tiny nib. Where is it? Yeah, there it is, there it is. Here on the white, you can see it. It's a teeny tiny nib. It gets the job done. It's waterproof. It lasts the whole day. They have about 5 or 6 shades, which is more than many brands, and a couple of them are not warm toned. Essential for people who have borderline black hair like I do. And these work amazing. And ever since I started buying these also cost 3 euros or 4 euros or something. Ever since I started buying these, I stopped buying high-end brow products, brow pencils, because these just get the job done. Why should I pay more money for these? That's just a question. Now let's talk about mascaras. You know, my ride or die are tubing mascaras, and I haven't found any tubing mascara in a lower price range. So that's out of the gate. But I really wanted to suggest a couple of mascaras that give me a beautiful effect on the lashes. And they are amazing. For 99% of the population, these work so well that I didn't want to diss on them, despite them not working on me as well as I wanted them, which means after a while they start to smudge. As you may see, I may look like I have a bit of under eye darkness, which isn't, it's the mascara that is starting to melt because I've been with this makeup on for quite a while. But that doesn't happen for so many people. So I wanted to mention these mascaras because these are the obvious choices. And one of them is the Lash Princess, the original, the green one by Essence. I love how this looks on the eyes, right, freshly open tube. You apply this on your lashes and you get those fluffy, fluttery, voluminous lashes that do not clump together and don't look spidery, which is what I like. Absolutely perfect. This is so inexpensive. I usually just apply a coat of the tubing mascara on top of it. I didn't do that today because I didn't want to cheat my full face of affordable makeup. But this is amazing, and this works for 99% of the population. I tried the waterproof one, same result. It smudges because it's not a matter of water, it's a matter of oils that melt the mascara. But this is beautiful. I still recommend this. I still love this. It's just, I have to put a raincoat on these. And the other one, this is representing the original one. So I'm going to cover the waterproof mark. So this is the Maybelline, no I can't, like this. Yeah, Maybelline, I'm so good at this. Maybelline Colossal Curl and Bounce Mascara. I've mentioned the original one on my channel. Again, I had to let that one dry for a bit. It's not the same as the Essence, which right off the fresh tube, it's amazing. I had to let that one dry for a bit. But after that, again, voluminous, juicy, fluttery lashes that are not clumped together and that look amazing the whole day. But it kind of smudges a bit on me. Just if you have the same problem as I do, these are not the best, or they need a coat of tubing mascara on top. Just letting you know. This, the one that I'm actually holding, is the waterproof version, which I'm still waiting for it to dry down a bit more because it's still very wet. So I'm getting a bit concerned. Let me just say that. Now, let's talk about eyeshadows, okay? I want to start with the most affordable way, in my opinion, of zhuzhing up your collection without spending the full money on a palette, which is buying single eyeshadows. I know I'm the annoying one with this, but it is true. It is an alternative. And if you want to try, let's say, one of those trendy colors, like, you know, the lime greens, the chartreuses, the dusty purples that are lying around, or if you want to try a special finish, those very wet, flaky, very shimmery shadows, or something like a duochrome or a multichrome. Even if you buy 3 of these eyeshadows from a high-end brand or a high-end indie brand, you'll probably spend less than you would in a palette at Sephora. That being said, I think that there is a brand that is making super affordable single shadows. I'm trying to open the palette without crumbling everything all over the place. A brand that makes really affordable single shadows in all those special shade kind of tropes, like, you know, your duochromes, multichromes, shifts, flaky, glittery shadows, and that is Glam Shop, and they make them so affordable. I had to mention this because some of these eyeshadows here costed me about €1. €1, €2, €4. I think the most expensive, I may be lying, but the last time I was on their website, the most expensive eyeshadows were €7 and €7 something. And they were just the newest of the new launches of theirs. So it's a little bit tough to beat in that sense. And these eyeshadows perform beautifully. They do need, that's my opinion, a glitter glue. Because these are very fragile eyeshadows, and especially the flaky ones, they are actually flaky. But I'm wearing this one, the brown flaky one, on my eyes today, and it looks absolutely glossy. I don't know how it reads on camera, but real life, it looks glossy on the eyes, a glossy brown. And they are gorgeous, and I love them. They are a bit more, some of them a bit more fragile in terms of, you know, flaking down, because it's the nature of the eyeshadow. Don't get me wrong. Pat McGrath special VR shades also flake quite a bit down your face, you know, glitter face. You get that the same with Pat McGrath. So this suggestion is not because the eyeshadow is poorly made, it's just because of the nature of the eyeshadows. Anything with glitters and not too many binding agents will have that kind of effect. So a glitter glue would be a good one to have, but you know, I'll talk about that later. The other thing I have to say, these are pretty fragile shadows, but they arrived perfectly in Portugal, and especially Glam Shop, of most of the indie brands that I've seen, especially in Europe, they are the ones who have the biggest range of different finishes within the brown and neutral category. So if you're not one to play too much with bold colors, where usually the, you know, the duochromes and multichromes and the flaky colors come from, and the glitters, usually they are used on very bold colors. But if you're not one of those people, and if you like to stay within the neutral range, you know, I have a glossy brown today on my eyes and I'm in love with it. And you have lots of different finishes for, you know, brownish colors on Glam Shop. So go check it out. It's a Polish brand and it's really fun and very affordable. The other one for, you know, single shadows, you know what I'm gonna say. 3, 2, 1, Colourpop Super Shock Shadows, of course. These are one and done. These have good binders, so you can swipe them with your finger, apply them onto your lid. You can buff them out with a brush if you like, and they stay really well for the whole day. I used to love the matte the matte ones the most. I love that finish, but they dry out a bit too much, a bit too quicker, I mean, for my liking. But these have been lasting me. The metallic ones, the shimmery ones have been lasting me forever. I'm not going to suggest colors because they discontinue everything, but they have relaunched kind of their Super Shock shadows recently, and they are always worth looking up and getting a couple of shades. If you're looking for something specific, they probably have it if it's not discontinued. Now let's talk about eye palettes, and the first one I'm going to mention is just an example. Again, it's Colourpop. Colourpop has amazing eyeshadow formulas. Their mattes are really good and they have improved over time, and their shimmers are amazing. I'm just not a fan of the glitters. And I have here to show you as an example of a trendy autumn kind of color story. This is the It's a Mood palette. And I love this palette with a passion because it has a very elegant color story. It's so beautiful. You have, you know, your muted greens, your, you know, turquoisey blues, desaturated colors, a bit of a burgundy here. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. It has lots of variety. The pans are magnetized, so you can, or magnetic, so you can pop them out and put in a magnetic palette, create your mini color stories, mix with what you already have, and it's a great option. There's a caveat though. I think they are changing the sizes of their pans. I much prefer the small pans that come in this palette. I think these are the perfect size. Unless you use the same color every day, you're not going to go through these before they expire. I think they are making bigger pan sizes. It's not my favorite move, but it seems to be something that other people have requested. But the old palettes with the smaller pans, I stand by, you know, 12 pan, 9 pan shadows, and these, they're all amazing. Just pick, you know, a color story that you like. But now let's talk about Indie. And this is an amazing palette, and I think it costed me, I think, £30 for 20 shades. And this is the Serenity palette by Cosmic Brushes. And this has been so in vogue that they have had to restock this several times this year, and I think they are restocking this soon. I think next week. Hopefully I haven't missed this, or I'm misleading you into something that is not available anymore, but they usually restock these, so keep an eye on this brand. This color story is super in trend, although I do not like the way the colors are arranged here because I get a little bit confused, and if you're like me, just persevere because the mattes are fabulous. These colors are incredible. The shimmers are very high performance. The mattes, you can just create a little bit of a watercolor finish, but you can build them and pack them on. I was wearing this green right here in the center on my last week's video. I can put a picture right here so that you can see it. And it's beautiful, and you can create high impact really easily. And the shimmers are also beautiful. And this is one of my favorite palettes of the year. I know this is very niche. Probably most people haven't heard about it, but it's a very affordable palette that is so on trend with the times, and at the same time you don't have to sell a kidney to get it. So always a bonus, I guess. Now, let's talk about lips first. Lip liners. This is going to be quick. NYX, especially the suede lip liners, but any of the NYX lip liners are amazing. I love the suedes because they have an amazing selection of nudes. These last very well, create a beautiful line on your lips, and they are just high performance, super high end. They're just packaged with NYX labeling. That's it. The other one is a more recent discovery. These are and I've mentioned these, the Essence Stay 8 Hour Lip Liner, or 18 Hour. That's how I can't read. I can't see if that's an 8 or an 18. the Essence Stay Lip Liners. These are so good. These are these kind of wind up lip liners. These glide so well on the lips, and they stay put, you can use these as your lipstick and they're not going to budge. They're amazing. Again, €3. Can't beat that. And they also have a couple of nudes. It's not as a comprehensive line as the NYX line, but they have a couple of reds, a couple of nudes, so you can find a few shades, few cool shades, and especially your essential shades like a bright red, you have it there. Now, I'm not going to talk about lipsticks per se, I'm going to talk about lip tints, and I know, broken record, I know. But Romand, the juicy lasting tints and the glasting water tints are amazing. These are a more watercolory finish on the lips. They're not as intense and opaque in terms of color, but they give that beautiful watercolor flush to your lips that looks so natural. They last a good amount of time. You can put a little bit of lip gloss on top and they won't just disassemble and crumble, and they look beautiful. They're not as long wearing as the ones that I'm going to mention next, but they are really easy to reapply and one of my favorites. Downside, you have to order these from Yes Style or similar, and the same with the Tony Moly Perfect Lips Shocking Lip Tints. These, if you have tried or if you were pondering trying the Fenty lip tints that came out this summer, these, for me, are better, more long wearing. Keep in mind, I have a pinky color from the Fenty one, and the ones that I have are red based, and these are more long wearing just because of the red pigment. So that could be something to keep in mind, but the longevity of this, the opacity, you apply these, let it set. If you want to go with a second coat to get it really full on, let it set and they will stay on your lips forever. If you do things with your lips like drinking or something before it completely sets, maybe it won't last as long, but my friends, these last forever, and they are, I think they are less, they're at least less €10 than the Fenty ones, just letting it out there. Now, lastly, is a brand for lips, and again, the same as with the eyeshadows, in my humble opinion, Colourpop does amazing lip products, except for the Luxe Gloss lip, the one in this kind of packaging. That wasn't good, but oh damn it, the Velvet Blur lipsticks. These are amazing. Again, they give you that blotted, blurry lip. It's a matte finish, super comfortable, non-drying, high-end equivalent for sure. Their normal lipsticks in this packaging are also amazing. They have some tubes for Lisa Eldridge colors, just saying. I don't know if they still make these Velvet Blurs. If they don't, they're just stupid. But anyway, the other ones that I love are the glowing lips. These are very similar to some Makeup by Mario glossy sticks that you see around. They have several colors that are beautiful. They're very glossy, very comfortable, mix of a lip balm and a glossy lipstick. Amazing. They're not very long wearing, but they're very easy to carry around. The only downside is they smell like children's sweets, candies, things. It's a bit childish in my opinion. And the last one, which is the best one for me, is the Luxe lip oils. These are amazing. I've raved about these for yonks for a reason. I always have 2 or 3 different ones of these, and I love them. They give you that beautiful feeling that your lips are nourished and hydrated like a lip balm would, but with that slip of a lip oil. It's thinner than a lip gloss, but it gives you that glossy look. It's not sticky. It doesn't linger for too long, but you can reapply easily. These are kind of like lip balms with a bit of a tint, you know? That kind of purpose. And the feel on the lips, although these have a lot less pigment, the feel on the lips of these ones is very similar, again, to the Lisa Eldridge lip glosses. I've said this. Last but not least, let's talk about glosses. And these are a couple of glosses that I don't when I use them, I think, why are we spending more than this amount of money on glosses? And one is the Essence Shine 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 lip glosses. This is the clear one that is a bit milky right now because I haven't used it in the proper way a couple of times, so it mixes and all of that. But this was a clear gloss and it still performs as a clear gloss on my lips. And it's just, if you want a clear gloss, this is the one to go for. They have other colors also, but I usually go for the clear one from them, which I really like, and they are sweet to the taste, which I really rate. And the other one that I have here, I'm sorry, this is not new news or anything, but this is the Kiko 3D Hydra lip glosses. These are so good. They have several colors also, some with a bit of shimmer in them, some that are just the milky color, pigmented ones, not highly pigmented, just with a bit of pigment to them. And these are amazing. I have this one right now on my lips and they give you such a beautiful shine and they smell, this is a bonus, if you're Portuguese, these smell like seldom. Just argue with me in the comments. Argue with me in the comments. These are amazing and also quite inexpensive. So if you're looking for a lip gloss and don't want to dish out lots of money, you don't have to, because these perform like high-end. Last mentions, I showed this before, this is the NYX glitter glue. If you want a good glitter glue, you don't have to spend more than NYX money, and this will last you forever as long as you keep it very well tightly closed. And you can play with glitters, shimmers, and making your eyeshadows last and not fall down your face, especially if you're working with those more flaky textures. High quality, you don't need more than this. I haven't tried anything that is worth more than buying a NYX glitter glue. And the last product is the Milani Make It Last spray, setting spray. I haven't tried lots of Milani because it's really expensive. They only have it on Beauty Bay, I think. And it's so expensive. I haven't tried lots of stuff from them. I really want to, but it becomes really expensive. It's almost like borderline high-end, high-price L'Oreal kind of prices. But this, the Make It Last setting spray, I really like it. It's not drying, but it sets everything on your face, and it doesn't feel like it's going to be oily in after 5 minutes after you applying this, you start to feeling oily. This is not one of those, but it's not, you know, drying your face so that it will last longer. It just gets the job done without altering too much the finish on your face, and it's great. And again, it's not super expensive. The Catrice one, I think, is more one of those finishing sprays that, you know, melts everything down, has a bit of glycerin, and everything adjusts a bit more. The powders go down, but it doesn't make your makeup last as long. This actually makes it last. So there you go. This was such a long video. I tried to record this so many times. So I'm sorry. Thank you for enduring this with me if you stayed until the end. Thank you for leaving comments if you have suggestions of stuff for me to try that is really affordable but feels absolutely high-end. And other than that, subscribe if you haven't already, please. That's nice to say. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below what you want to see next from me. And as always, thank you for spending your time on me, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!